Welcome everybody to another edition of How I Would Book It, WCW 1998. This is Monday Night. This is another episode of Monday Nitro for 2 weeks before Spring Stampede. As things start wrapping up nicely, going into the pay-per-view, we are this is the one bad thing about, you know what, let's just get into the show. Forget what I was gonna say. The show kicks off tonight highlighting the history between Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage, because tonight on Nitro, the main event is the third and final match of the NWO Gauntlet, as Randy Savage attempts to become the one that challenges Sting for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. At Spring Stampede, all he has to do is topple his former enemy. His former friend and stablemate in Hollywood, Hulk Hogan. But now we move over to the broadcast position with Mike, Tony, and Bobby talking about how important this main event is tonight for Randy Savage, and taking the step that he believes he deserves, because if you remember, over the past couple of weeks, Randy has made it clear that he believes he deserves a WCW World Heavyweight title shot. And this is the stake that President Tully Blanchard put on it, that if Randy could defeat three members of the NWO. First week he defeated NWO Sting. Second week last week he defeated Bryan Adams, and now this week he's going up against Hollywood Hogan. And if he beats Hollywood Hogan, then at Spring Stampede he gets Sting for the WCW World Heavyweight title. And now we move to our first match of the night, which is a Cruiserweight 6-man tag team match. Ultimo Dragon, Dean Malenko and La Parka against Chavo Guerrero, Alex Wright, and Psychosis. And as you can tell by the result of the match, Dean Malenko's team wins after Psychosis fell victim to the sky-twisting press by La Parka, and La Parka, Ultimo Dragon, and Dean Malenko got the victory. As we move to the next segment, which is backstage, Arn Anderson is seen talking to one of the stage crew members as Greg Valentine walks into the frame, and Greg Valentine basically tells Arn, "AA, I respect you and what you've done in this business, but fact is, this is not your fight. We showed you not to get involved when we took you out, that we weren't afraid. We showed you that we weren't afraid of taking you out when we did so 3 months ago, when Sid attacked you backstage. Don't make us do it again." You listen here, Greg. Ric Flair. I've had Ric Flair's back for 15 years, and this time is no different. You want to make a threat on my career? Fine. But don't think I won't go down without a fight. Seems like tensions are rising it seems like tensions are rising in that feud, and it's not even involving Ric Flair and Roddy Piper anymore. Now we move to the next segment, with which we go back to the table where Mike, Tony, and Bobby are told that later on tonight we will be seeing Eric Bischoff and he has something to say. Now we move to the next segment, which is Davey Boy Smith against exchange wrestler Super J, who came over here from Japan, and he falls victim to the running power slam from Davey Boy Smith. Following the match, though, uncharacteristically of Davey Boy Smith, Davey Boy actually calls out Eric Bischoff. Davey Boy grabs a mic and cuts a promo on Eric Bischoff, and he starts talking about Eric Bischoff. And it's a borderline shoot. It is a borderline shoot because Davey Boy is talking about stuff that happened backstage, or that happened up in New York, or that happened in other places that weren't WCW. Basically, Davey Boy is talking about his history with Bret Hart and how he felt when he saw his brother-in-law quit WCW 3 weeks ago on Nitro. And the fact that basically a week later, Eric Bischoff came out and said that said on national TV, good riddance, that Bret Hart was gone. And Davey Boy takes exception to that. Now Eric Bischoff comes out and he says, Davey Boy, when your contract was up in the when you walked away from the from the WWF, after your brother-in-law got screwed in Canada, who signed you? Who brought you back to WCW? The same person who brought you here the first time when they, up in New York, sent you packing. Because of circumstances that they didn't want to admit. But who brought you in? Because who believed in your talent? It was me, Davey Boy, because I knew you were recognizable because of where you came from, not because of what you accomplished. You were featured on national TV weekly up in New York. And then you came down here and you fought in the main event, which is a lot more than you did when you were up there. Now you come down here on your second turn in this company, and and now you're complaining about the fact that I told the truth about your brother-in-law. Your brother-in-law is nothing more than an egotistical, cocky, good-for-nothing shell of his former self who thinks that he's better than he is. You lay your hand on me, you can join your brother-in-law on the unemployment line, Davey Boy. Or maybe you can see if Vince McMahon would be willing to hire you back. Because I can tell you right now, if I was him, I would make you get down on your knees and beg for your job. You wanna know why I hate your brother-in-law? You wanna know why I don't care that your brother-in-law's gone? Because he came here with the expectation that he would be treated the way he was treated up north. Fact of the truth is, he expected that he would come in not having to earn a damn thing. What he did up there means nothing here. But he didn't want to earn a thing. That's why he's not missed. And you want to know another reason? Because Hollywood Hogan has carried this company by himself since he arrived in this company. And if it wasn't for Hollywood Hogan, you wouldn't have a job in WCW, because there wouldn't be a WCW. Because Hollywood Hogan saved this company from obscurity. Your brother-in-law didn't. You certainly didn't. Ric Flair didn't. Sting didn't. Kevin Nash certainly didn't. Randy Savage didn't. Without Hollywood Hogan, there would be no WCW. And without Hollywood Hogan, there would be no Davey Boy Smith and no Bret Hart. Now I would have Davey Boy say, Eric, you're missing the point. The point is, Bret Hart was one of the hottest free agents in the wrestling business today, and you butchered it by not allowing him to be featured on your show in your company, because you didn't think that he belonged on top right away. No wonder why half the people who came from down here and went up there always said that you ran around like a chicken with your head cut off, not knowing what you're doing and believing anything your meal tickets say. You know what, Eric? I don't need this job, and I don't need disrespect from you. I've earned the respect of my peers, and I've earned the respect of these people. I don't give a damn what you think. You can't fire me because I quit. So now, Davey Boy Smith walks away, mentioning that segment, the segment where you saw Eric books this match, and that Eric booked it. You know what? Let's just leave it the way it was. Let's just leave it the way it was. Ignore that segment. I forgot to take it out. Now we move to the next match, which is Mike Awesome against Rey Mysterio Jr. Yes, you might say, why is Rey Mysterio Jr. putting over Mike Awesome? Mike Awesome has stuff going on. Rey Mysterio doesn't. Guess what? Just because he loses one match doesn't mean he's a jobber. Doesn't mean he's putting over the bigger people. It means he lost one match. Don't get pissed about it. Now we move to the next segment, which is Mike Awesome calling out the Giant. And this is a simple segment, because it is just Mike Awesome calling out the Giant, saying that I'm gonna do, he says, Giant, get out here. I challenge you to a match at Spring Stampede. And I'm gonna do what Kevin Nash couldn't, and that's slay the Giant. Giant comes out, accepts the match. We go to commercial. That's it. Nothing else happens. This is where we go to commercial. We have a heated confrontation, and then we go to commercial. Now we move to a video package involving Goldberg putting over the streak, partly because Goldberg is not in action this week, because I had other stuff to book this week, not Goldberg. Therefore, he couldn't have been booked. He couldn't be booked because he wasn't able to get on the show. So instead, I gave him a video to, I guess you could say, put over his dominance that he's put over the dominance that he has displayed since he debuted in WCW. Now we move to the next segment, which is the announcers. Once again, putting over the importance of the main event. But this time they include talking about Sting and saying that Sting wants competition. Sting wants competition. He's beaten Hulk Hogan twice. He's never faced Randy Savage. Spring Stampede could be a new test for the WCW World Champion if Randy could defeat Hollywood Hogan. Now we move to the next segment, which is Ric Flair Ric Flair against Eddie Guerrero, and Ric Flair is victorious in this contest against Eddie Guerrero in Ric Flair's one of Ric Flair's first few matches since not only uncensored but thus far this year, actually. As you would have probably expected, Ric Flair calls out Roddy Piper following the match. And all Ric Flair says is, Roddy, we've known each other for long enough for you to have the respect for me to come out here where I don't have to go on this speech. So Roddy, show me respect and get your kilt wearing ass out here. Or something like that. Now we go to the next segment, which is Roddy's out here, comes into the ring. I mean, it's like it was 2 weeks ago. Roddy stays in the entrance ramp, and Flair stays in the ring. Rick says, Roddy, if you want Sid Vicious, you gotta wait your turn, because I am getting him at Spring Stampede. I am getting my hands on him first. I am getting my revenge for months of mind games and months of just playing with my head. And not only that, I want Sid Vicious so I can get my revenge on him for attacking you and Arn. Rick, you don't get it, do you? You don't get it, Rick. I want my own revenge, because unlike Arn, I don't need you to do my dirty work for me. What are you saying, Rod? Rick, you don't get it, do you? And Sid Vicious jumps the rail. And Sid Vicious jumps Ric Flair again. But this time, Roddy stays on the rampway. What's going on? What's happening? Why is Roddy staying on the rampway? Could it be what we think we're thinking? And this is what the announcers are saying. That was a gruesome, you have, they're saying that was a brutal attack again by Sid. He dropped Rick with a powerbomb and left him laying in the ring, but Roddy stayed on the rampway. Roddy did not make his way down the ramp like he did 2 weeks ago to run Sid off. Roddy stayed still. Bobby Heenan is the one who says, could it be that Roddy is with Sid and Greg Valentine, and when he got attacked was a fake attack to play with Ric Flair, to start planting the seed, to lay the plan, to take Flair. Roddy was on Flair's side. And Mike says, that's impossible. How could he can't do? Roddy Piper isn't as stupid as he looks. something like that, what Bobby Heenan would say. Now we move to the next match, which is the Steiner brothers against Rick and Scott. Faces of Fear. And the Faces of Fear are victorious. But this happens in the segment. Scott Steiner turns on Rick Steiner, which leads the Faces of Fear to win, as Rick turns on Scott. Excuse me. And then post-match, Scott attacks Rick to further display his heel turn. That he's not with his brother anymore. Now once again, the announcers put over the fact that one last time the announcers drill home the importance of Randy versus Hogan and the importance that this match brings Randy Savage. How important this match is for Randy Savage, and if he gets a pay-per-view match at Spring Stampede. But because this is the third time, I'm going to spend very short amount of time with it. And now we move to the main event tonight, which is, if you didn't know already, then you haven't been paying attention. It's Randy Savage against Hollywood Hulk Hogan. And if you didn't think, then now you know. Randy Savage is victorious against Hollywood Hogan in the main event. And that means Randy Savage goes one-on-one at Spring Stampede against Sting for the WCW Heavyweight Championship. And much like it happened last month with Sting and Hogan, Sting walks down the rampway with the world title in hand. Everybody from the backstage starts emptying out. Wrestlers, referees, managers, backstage personnel. Everybody starts coming out to get in between Randy and Sting, because they know Hogan wasn't going to go after Sting, but Randy might, because he's uncontrollable. He's a loose cannon. All that happens is Sting holds up the WCW World title over his head, just as Randy makes a break for Sting. But just as that happens, we go off the air just before we think Randy was going to get the Sting and the fight was going to be on. And that's how tonight's show comes to a close, with Randy and Sting almost coming to fisticuffs. And for the first time that I can remember in a long time, a nitro from the Coliseo Manuel Indina in Puerto Rico gains us popularity. We increased in popularity for the first time that I can remember in a long time. And fact is, guys, this is the best show we've done in a long time. And look who main evented: Hogan and Savage. If you like the show as much as the game did, don't forget to put a like. Don't forget to drop a comment in the comment section below. And, like, subscribe, all that jazz. But for more content just like this, you can only find it in one place. That is Wrestling Express. Till next time, guys. Peace.